Let me start by extending my sincere thanks to the organizers of this seminar. Uh, Frankly speaking, until recently, I didn't know much about this great scholar, servant, and sadhaka. But since I received this invitation, I started, taking note of the contribution of this great scholar, and the more I know, the more I am getting amazed by his contribution, by his by the ideals that he left for us to follow. Since one of his greatest contribution to academic philosophy is his kind of reconstruction of the insights of the Upanishads, I thought that it might be appropriate to bank on some of the insights that are available in the Upanishads and locate them in our contemporary discourse. And what I have tried to do is try to situate some of the basic insights of Upanishads in our contemporary discourse on environmentalism. One of the basic debates in contemporary environmentalism is a debate between what is sometimes called anthropocentrism and its opposition. So, we all know the famous Greek, statement that man is the measure of all things. So, man is the center of this universe, and everything around centers around man. His, ideas, his wishes, his demands, his commands, etc., etc. But then, a lot of people argue that this kind of anthropocentrism will really not solve the predicaments that we face today insofar as environmental issues are concerned. So the basic question is then how to proceed in our environmental discourse. And I would like to argue that if we look back at some of the insights of the Upanishads, we can find a solution to this debate between anthropocentrism and non anthropocentrism of various kinds. And two ideas from Upanishad that I would like to, like your attention to draw. One is the famous quote we all know, Isha Vasyam Idang Sarvam, right? We all know. There are lots of discussions on an account of this Isha and Idam. What is the exact relation between Isha and Idam? I'm not getting into that discussion right now because time won't permit me. But there is another very interesting insight that we find in the Upanishads about Panchakosha. We are probably aware of this doctrine of Panchakosha advocated in the Upanishads. And I think that this idea of Panchakosha actually addresses and also solves the tension between anthropocentrism on the one hand and a view that ascribes intrinsic value to nature. And this attempt to combine these two apparently opposite tendencies culminates in what I call gentle anthropocentrism. And I would like to, argue, in greater detail. I have done it that this idea of gentle anthropocentrism could be articulated on the basis of this idea of Panchakosha that we find in the Upanishads. That the Upanishads do not advocate a reductionist view can be shown from the analysis of the embodied self, possessing 5 sheets, Panchakosha, in which the Atman remains concealed. These 5 sheets are like vestures which the Atman wears while manifesting itself in the world. So, realization of the true nature of the Atman requires the lifting of these veils. It should be noted that throughout this creation and concealment, the purity of the Atman remains untainted. So when the knowledge of the true nature of Atman arises, no remnant of these veils of ignorance is left in the Atman. For after all, these concealments are created by our ignorance. The story of the gradual concealment or manifestation of the Atman by the 5 sheets, Panchakosha, explains the development of the Atman from the gross matter till final emergence of all the wrappings. The Atman, which we are aware of ordinarily, is material in nature. It is the last sheet in which the Atman is wrapped. The movement of concealment starts with ether, Akasha, and ends with earth, Prithvi. From this earth, food grows, which sustains the human body. Since the Atman has entered into creation, matter is infused with Atman and feels the urge to forsake its materiality and to get back to where it came from, namely the Atman. The Atman and matter get intertwined so that matter no longer rests content with materiality and moves beyond towards the vast, the infinite Atman. Matter is not to be neglected, for everything in the world owes its existence to it. Since the material food nourishes the physical body, it is considered the first among the created things, Bhutanam Jeshtham. The material base of the Atman cannot be denied once we accept that the Atman is present in its creation. The Atman in the form of food is known as Annamaya Atma. And the Atman in the form of the consumer, who is consuming the food, is known as Pranamaya Atma. The consumer who realizes that her is the Pranamaya Atma realizes that she is full of consumable goods and is a consumer herself. Annavan Annado Bhavati. The next stage of Atman is known as the Manomaya Atma. The consumer cannot consume unless she is driven by some desire, which is fulfilled by the Pranamaya Atma. The Manomaya Atma is also known as the desire body, Linga Sharira. This Manomaya Atma gives rise to desires and other mental dispositions that prompts the Pranamaya Atma to fulfill those desires. But what is the source of these human desires and dispositions? We can have the knowledge of creation only when we reach the source of our desires, namely the origin of creation. The mind makes an attempt to know its source, but in vain. From the mind we can only know that which is given to it. It cannot grasp that which makes it possible for the mind to work. And the reason for this inability of the human mind is that the mystery of creation lies in the depths of what is called Vijnanamaya Atma. The Vijnanamaya Atma contains the knowledge of creation, for it is Vijnana or knowledge which gives rise to all desires, actions, in fact the whole of creation. The Vijnana is the first evolute in the process of creation. So far we have discussed 4 covers of self: life, mind, and cognitive aspects of the self. Vijnanamaya Atma, of course, carries with it the complete knowledge of creation because it is the source from which the whole of creation proceeds. But the reality, in its pristine purity, lies beyond the Vijnanamaya Atma, Because after all, the Vijnanamaya Atma is a casing, is a wrapping which covers reality. The Upanishad proceeds further and regards Anandamaya Atma as the ultimate reality. This Anandamaya Atma is emanating bliss as such. Out of this exuberating bliss, creation begins. Anandadheva kallimani bhutani jayante, etc. The self-realization approach has been vigorously defended by some of the contemporary Western environmental philosophers. It's very interesting to note that they keep on referring to parts of Upanishads, parts of Bhagavad Gita to defend the view that ultimately the self with capital S contains matter, materiality of nature, the human life, entire ecosystem that we talk about. And one of the greatest, contemporary environmental philosophers, Ernie Naes, refers to Bhagavad Gita in this context. And Naes rests his views on the following verse of the Bhagavad Gita, quote, "He sees himself as in all beings and all beings in himself, who himself is yoked in discipline and who sees the same everywhere." So you see, this idea of Panchakosha is a brilliant attempt on the part of the Upanishadic seers to combine the matter and the highest spirit, namely humans. So, anthropocentrism, man-centered view, is not necessarily opposed to ascribing intrinsic value to nature, because after all, materiality of matter is also another form of expression of that Atman or self with capital S. There are certain other insights that are available in the Upanishadic literature which could really enlighten, enrich some parts of the contemporary environmental discourse. And this is how I think we can locate, age-old insights, age-old realizations in our contemporary discourse. And I join all of you in paying my sincere regards to the contribution, to the sadhana of Gurudev Ranade. Thank you very much.